Discord, Sonata Dusk, A True Love by Switched Up. Sometime after the Dazzlings was defeated, Sonata and her friends they tried to survive on their own. But then Sonata's friends just abandoned her because she wasn't that smart, or they just abandoned her. So Sonata was now alone in a new world. For some short time afterwards, she wanted to go back to Equestria. But how? Then she remembered Sunset. She traveled to Capital High School, where she met Sunset and the other friends. At first, Sonata tried to explain why she was there, and even, she wanted to ask them for help if she could be allowed to be returned back to Equestria. But Sunset wondered what her friends were doing, and Sonata always just said that she doesn't know. They abandoned her for no reason. Well, they think she's stupid and not strong in magic. Sunset could feel that Sonata was telling the truth. So she asked Twilight. And Twilight then accepted that Sonata would be allowed to return, since she has no strong power of this amulet or this necklace she had before. So Sonata then traveled back to Equestria through the portal, and now she was back to her original form as a siren. She traveled around the oceans nearby to Equestria by herself or just in the air. But she felt so lonely even then. She tried to make friends with other ponies, but most of them were afraid of her because she was a siren and caused the legends of the sirens, so they decided to avoid her at all costs. And that made Sonata even more heartbroken. She just wanted to have a friend to talk to. Even she doesn't have her strong hypnotic magic anymore, but she still has now more sense of music. Now she couldn't sing anymore, but she then started to learn to play music instead. First she tried with a guitar, but it didn't work. Then she tried with a flute, which was much better. And one day, Discord, he was just flying around in Equestria, since Fluttershy was kind of busy with her friends with a meeting. So Discord decided just floating around in the air to see what happens. Most of Equestria has now accepted him as a good guy. But when he was flying around, he could notice music middle of nowhere, and he followed the sound to a clearing next to a river. Then he saw her, and he could actually remember who she was. Sonata. The music stopped, and Sonata looked up and saw Discord. Discord, what you doing here? Discord looked at her with a smile and landed next to her. I'm just flying around, see what happens. But the question is, what are you doing here? Last time I heard that you were banished with the other two sirens to the world. Then Sonata explained to the Discord about what happened. And that was over 1,000 years ago. And Discord, he was surprised to hear all about Sonata's story, all her using her magic, and even knew that she was accepted to return back to Equestria. But how about you? I thought you turned into stone. Yes, I was, actually, twice. But now I'm back, reformed, and, well, I have now good friends here. And Discord looked at Sonata with a smile, and she couldn't resist to blush suddenly when she looked at him. Sonata and Discord used to be good friends long before the sirens tried to take over. But since her friends wanted more, discovered that their magic could control their opponents, so they wanted to try to take over. But at first Sonata didn't want to do that. She wanted just to be a friend with Discord and many other ponies. But the friends that, no, if we have our magic, we can control them. Then you have much ponies you can ask for. At first Sonata didn't want to do it. But after this she found out that Discord suddenly has started to use its own magic to take over. But it was slowly at first. But Sonata and her friends, they decided to use their magic to control us first. But they were easily defeated by Starsword the Beard and the other 6 pillars. But Discord, he was much later defeated by Celestia and Luna. After Sonata was returned back to Equestria, she tried to study about some of the current history, what happened since they had been banished. That's why she found out about Discord. But when she looked at Discord, she still remembers her strong feelings for him. Because long ago, she was deeply in love with Discord, and he was in love with her. At first she thought that he didn't have any feelings for her anymore. Because she didn't tell him at first, years ago, how she felt for him. She was going to. But that was the time when she and her friends were banished, so she had never had the time to tell him. But then she decided to tell him. Discord? Yes? There is something I wanted to tell you. Oh, what is it? Said Discord and looked at her, and smiled. Well, if you remember the time we were banished, me and my friends, well, former friends, I was going to tell you something back then, but I never had a chance. What was it? Said Discord. Sonata was quiet for a moment, looked at Discord with a blush, and, well, I loved you so much, said Sonata. And Discord, he wasn't that much as a surprise. He was actually just smiling and said, I know. You do? Yes. As much time we spent before, I couldn't notice that you have feelings for me. And I did have the same thing for you, but like you said, at the time when you were banished, I didn't have the time to tell. That was one of the reasons I started to take over the question. Losing my only best friend, my second best friend I had, except for Celestia, and losing my true love, which broke my heart even more and make me to going crazy and start to take over, said Discord. Would you even have me as a girlfriend even as a sign? Said Sonata. And she was a little bit sad because she thought Discord would never date her or have her as a girlfriend since she's a siren and he's a Draconicus. That could be easily changed, said Discord, and he snapped his fingers and suddenly Sonata was not a siren anymore. Now she was a pony. Did you just change me? I did. But I can change you back if you don't. No, no, no. I'm just surprised. Discord and Sonata sat there and talked to each other for several hours. And just then Discord said that he had to return back home. And she asked where. And then Discord said that he lived in his own dimension. And Sonata asked if it was possible for them to be together and maybe do something some next time. Discord just smiled and said, of course. And then he kissed her on the cheek and said, just say my name twice and I return. And then he left. Sonata was now surprised at first to have a boyfriend and to be a pony, and now have told her about his true feelings for him. But now she wondered, where will she live? But then she remembered Twilight. She wasn't that far from the Ponyville. So she walked up to Ponyville. When she arrived, it was middle of the night almost. And Twilight was still awake. She was still reading some books. Then she heard a knock on the door. Spike was already asleep, so he couldn't answer the door. So she did it. Sonata, but what are you doing here? And are you a pony? Hi, Twilight. Yeah, I'm a pony. Kind of a gift from Discord. Discord? Yeah, can I come in and explain? Yeah, sure. Sonata was there in the castle, and they went to the library where she explained every detail for Twilight. So, you love him and he made you a pony for that? Yeah. Wow, I mean, I never thought about it that even when possible for him to do it. Well, he is a former Lord of Chaos, so... Then Sonata asked if she could stay there, and Twilight said, yeah, you can stay here. And I wonder if my other friends will accept you. Yeah, I don't blame them if they won't accept me, said Sonata. Because all the bad I did in the past and now. I do regret it. I really do. And Sonata was crying, and Twilight could see it was actually true tears. Well, let me show you your room. Sonata showed to her room by Twilight, and for the next few days, Sonata didn't leave her room at all. She was staying in there, crying just for herself. Even Twilight and her friends talked about this, and they first thought it was a bad idea for her to leave there, or even her to return. But after some time, they had to got to know her, because Sonata did actually try to help her Twilight and her friends for any daily works, like in the Sugar Cube Corner with Pinky, at Sweet Apple Acres with Applejack, and at Verity's Boutique with her new dresses. And after some time, they accepted her. But at first, Rainbow was the last pony of them who didn't want to believe that she has been reformed. But after she actually helped Rainbow to make some kind of loop in air after she tried it, then she actually accepted Sonata as well. But even Sonata felt still lonely, even she had a Discord as a boyfriend, and they had been dating now for at least a few weeks now afterwards. They often take walks or eating picnics at the meadows or at the restaurant, but she still felt lonely. She doesn't have, she didn't know what her true purpose was in Equestria, because Sonata had tried almost anything in Ponyville to all kinds of works, except for one. Twilight had found out that she hasn't tried to work at the local hospital, and Sonata didn't want to first try that because she thought maybe that wouldn't work. But she was given a try at least, and while she was working there, she was mostly taking care of the elderly and the children. To the surprise to her, the children actually liked her. She made her ton of funny stories and played some of their own music on the flute, and which they really enjoyed. Even the elderly, they was sitting in their beds and listened to his music like if they were hypnotized, but they weren't. They just loved her to listen to her music. And when Twilight heard about it, she thought that might be the right calling for her. So she asked Sonata if she wanted to be maybe a doctor or nurse. At first, Sonata thought about it, and she wanted to be a nurse. So Twilight helped her with studies to be a nurse. Even it took some time to study reading, to do some tests, and make some to be an intern at the hospital and everything. But after some time of study, she became a nurse. And at first, some of the nurses there didn't like her so that much, but after she helped them so much as it possible she could, everyone there in the hospital did accept her. And sometime after she became a nurse at the hospital, her relationship with Discord, it remained strong, but from time to time they had a big argument what to do, and after they decided to take a break, but they didn't end their relationship. They just decided to not see each other for a few days just to calm down. But they often go back to each other and ask forgiveness. And after 5 years of being together, Discord wanted to make it as official. After he visited Sonata at her work, and then actually proposed to her, and she was not even prepared for that kind of surprise. And she was blushing, tearful eyes, and she was crying and said yes over and over. And Sonata's coworkers, all of them were also happy to see that she was being proposed at work. And even her friends like Twilight, Pinky, Rarity, all of them were also so happy for her. And Sonata was now happy that she made the right decision to return back home. Now she had all she could dream of. Friends, a true calling, and soon a husband. The wedding was held at the city hall 3 months later. Twilight had been asked to perform the ceremony, which she accepted to do. Big Macintosh had been asked to be Discord's best man, and Rarity had been asked to be Sonata's bridesmaid, which she accepted. And Spike, he was the ring bearer. He often been there on the weddings. And after the wedding, it was a big party. Pinky and her friends had provided all that she could find. The party lasted for several hours until much too late afternoon, before Sonata and Discord left for Las Vegas for to be on 2 weeks honeymoon. After 2 years, Discord and Sonata was talking about start a family. So they asked Twilight for help, and with their help, they managed to get Sonata pregnant, and she got 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter. And surprise enough, the children was half pony and half draconicus, and they all inherited their father's chaos magic, and he trained them not to use the magic in public for pranks or revenge like he did years ago. But Discord and Sonata was now happy to have found at least this special son pony and have been married with each other and have a big family. And that's how Sonata and Discord found a true love and found a big family. The